with the purple mark on it and show it to her.
Oh, what the fuck?
Maranath does not
Maranath.
like that.
Maranath, what are you doing?
What's wrong?
He's using his powers to suppress our connection.
Magic.
I can't actually see what you're trying to show me.
Maranath, could you stop being petty and just let her see it?
I don't take orders from you, Heavensborn.
That actually is pretty.
Yep, that's a
No,
pretty good one.
Yep, that was pretty close to what I was doing.
Yep,
Keep it up.
yep.
Keep it up.
I wonder, Mr. Cuthbert, what is on that parchment?
You see, Beatrice, Arya has been investigating a string of murders throughout Wyverngard. These murders appear to be unrelated, despite how gruesome they are, but they all share one thing in common. This symbol was found at each and every crime scene.
Don't tell me my daughter has roped you into a little conspiracy theory. Your mind control defense would be laughable if it weren't downright insulting.
Lord Steelwind, during the gap in Arya's memory, someone placed this mark in her pocket. It was clearly some sort of taunt from whoever orchestrated this.
Nonsense. She clearly drew that symbol herself during her psychotic episode. I've had to listen to her go on and on about her insane theory. She was obsessed with it.
Mr. Cuthbert, aren't you curious about what just happened?
What are you talking about?
Think about it. Why my apologies? I don't know why I said that.
Mm-hmm. Why is Maranath preventing you from seeing the mark? Yeah, I know. Don't worry, Beatrice. I'm on it. Is everything okay, Beatrice?
Yes, I'm perfectly fine. Anyways, it looks like you'll have to figure the rest out on your own.
Figure the rest out on my own? What do you mean by that?
There's nothing to figure out. Your Grace, these two are making a mockery of us by spouting these insane theories. The defense clearly has no case. End this at once.
I will fucking eat you.
Considering
Oh.
what I know, I'd like to indulge this theory.
Wow.
The judge finally giving you a chance for once. That's a first.
That's a first.
You shouldn't waste this opportunity. You've actually been noticing it for quite a while. Beatrice has been acting strangely since this trial began. It's suspicious, but not in the way that seems to implicate her. It's almost like she's intentionally trying to make you realize something. Why don't you pull on this thread a little more? She just asked you if you were curious about what just happened. You're not sure why she stopped herself when you asked for elaboration. But whatever she's trying to draw your attention to must be significant. Maranath hid the purple mark from Beatrice. He didn't allow Beatrice to see the purple mark. He'd only do that if Beatrice would recognize it normally. Maranath is their familiar, and he used to follow her orders. But things have clearly changed now that she belongs to the Empress of Discord. So why would a demon like Maranath interfere with this? Maranath...
Hasn't been hiding a demon.
The purple mark is
Purple mark
related
is
to
lying
a
about
demon?
ability.
Yeah, there we go. Purple mark must be related to a demon somehow. That's the only explanation as to why he would prevent her from seeing the mark. But Arya has been investigating murders throughout Wyverngard. Does that mean that our investigations also have something to do with the demon? Arya suspected that each of the murders was acting against their will. Now both Arya and Beatrice are also claiming they were controlled. You can't explain what happened to Arya and these other individuals, but you do know why Beatrice might not have full control over her actions. Beatrice...
Lost to the control of their actions due to a blood.
Blood.
Yeah. You recall what was written on Beatrice's contract during the trial. It said what would happen if she failed to claim House Freyga. Her soul, her mind, and her life would all be claimed by the Empress of Discord. If this Empress of Discord owns Beatrice's mind, that would mean they also control Beatrice against their will. But if that were true,
What does that tell us about
Arya
Arya?
created... no. Arya lost control
Lost.
of their mind due to a blood.
Due to a blood.
No, that can't be right, can it? Did Arya seriously sign a blood contract with the demon? But why would she ever do that? It's the conclusion that makes the most sense. I can't think of any other way someone could control her against her will. There is one way to find out for certain. The Divine Edict, that same ability you used against Beatrice during her trial. It was instinctual at the time, but you have some understanding of how it works. It creates a copy of a blood contract between a contract holder and the demon who created it. For it to work, you need to know the name of the contract holder. In addition to that, you need to know the name of the demon who created the contract. Right now, you're only relying on guesswork. Going off of what you know, the demon who made the contract must be the Empress of Discord. The so-called Empress of Discord. She was mentioned in Beatrice's blood contract, but you still have no idea who or what she is. However, she was mentioned in a blood contract created by Maranath. She must be his superior in some way. That might explain why Maranath doesn't want Beatrice to identify the purple mark. You're not sure if a pseudonym is enough, but it's the closest you can get with what you know so far.
You've been awfully quiet for a while, Mr. Cuthbert. What are you thinking about?
I like how his eyes are like dinner plate size
Yeah.
wide.
Hmm.
To be fair, it's a dragon.
He's probably imagining new ways to futilely stall for time.
I personally actually really like that it doesn't have pupils. It's just full,
Same.
yeah, full color eyes. I think I've finally figured out why the witness and the defendant can't remember anything, and it would also explain why they didn't have control of their actions.
Ugh, again with this. If you're so convinced of my daughter's conspiracy, why don't you prove it?
I
knew it. Even you don't believe in the nonsense you're spouting.
Lord Steelwind, I want to be wrong about this. If I'm right, the implications don't bode well for anyone involved. So instead of telling you, I think it would be better to show you. Empress of Discord, wherever you may hide.
Damn it.
I love Beatrice's smile.
I knew you could do it.
By the Eye of Horus, I issue upon you a divine edict. Release thy guards and manifest your blood contract with Arya Steelwind.
Oh, you bastard.
The blood contract seems strange. Unlike Beatrice's contract, it's only one page. Even stranger, there's a very large empty space at the top half of the page. There are only a few sentences at the bottom. For the intentions of this contract, the person who hands this contract to Arya Steelwind will be referred to as the patron. By signing this contract, Arya Steelwind surrenders her mind, body, and soul to the patron. This contract will bind Arya Steelwind to the patron as long as they both live. It's signed with Arya's signature.
No. This can't be true.
This is...
Enough! Stop prattling amongst yourselves.
He roars instead of slamming a gavel. That's so funny.
Min? Hey, Min.
Yes?
I don't know how many gold dragons we're gonna find once you bring Avernus back. Him. Please have a Doofenshmirtz gold dragon
God.
somewhere in
Oh
Avernus.
god, I'm sure Captain would just love that.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Oh my god.
No, this is a sham. This wretch clearly created a convincing fabrication.
He's genuine, Lucio. It's impossible to falsify something like this.
You can't deny the truth anymore, Lord Steelwind. There is a way to control someone else's actions. Arya Steelwind wasn't affected by Mage Blight. She was controlled against her will.
Ah, a lot of emotions.
Yep.
With this evidence,
None
there's no
of them
doubt that
happened.
Arya did sign a blood contract. But it still doesn't make sense.
I agree. Even if Arya was the type of person to sign a contract with a demon, there isn't a single part of this contract that benefits her.
Forced to.
Yeah. Arya signed the contract. Probably because it looked like a normal document at the time. There's a large empty space above the terms of your daughter's contract. When I issue a divine edict, it creates a copy of the blood contract that I call for. I think when she was given this contract, it probably looked like something entirely different. Something else was written in the empty space to make it look like a normal legal document. Which means that my client was not in control of her actions that day.
Oh my god, what the fuck?
Objection. Enough of this, all of you.
Do you see now, Lord Steelwind? Arya was not responsible for what happened.
That remains to be proven.
What are you talking about? She has a blood contract that relinquishes control of her free will.
Not having control and not being responsible are two very different things, Cuthbert.
Not in
What?
this case.
I'll admit, the defendant may not have had control of her actions when she murdered the victims. However, she did have full control of herself when she signed this contract.
Are you serious? No one in their right
Wow.
mind would willingly sign a contract like this.
And what of Beatrice Frege? Was she in her right mind when she made a contract with Moranath?
Okay, there's a difference.
If we can't hold the defendant responsible, surely we should also acquit Lady Frege for the murder of her father.
That's hardly the same thing.
I, for one, fail to see the difference.
That's because you're missing an eye.
A fool made a deal with a demon, and as a result, several esteemed members of the nobility were killed.
She's
Fuck
your
your
daughter,
nobility.
Lucio.
And how does that change anything?
Damn it, he seriously doesn't care if he convicts Arya.
Honestly, this only places more responsibility on her for what happened. I could have accepted if she had just been reckless and accidentally induced Mage Blight. But to sign a contract with a demon? That only further espouses the need to put her down.
She was clearly tricked, Lucio.
Is that so? As a fellow attorney, would you really sign a contract without carefully inspecting it?
Yes, actually.
Yeah, would you do that, Sai?
So this guy just wants to kill his own daughter. So that's what we're coming to the conclusion here, right?
Mm.
I mean, probably.
I mean,
if
the
he
whole
doesn't-
thing is that he's like absolutely devoted to his duty as one of the pillar heads.
It
Yeah.
doesn't seem that this is his duty. This seems like he's using it as an
No.
excuse.
Hey, by the way, Bigfoot, this guy is like the only remaining head of the nobility in the entire freaking kingdom.
Mhm.
And if some sort of justice isn't brought to someone, everybody in like the kingdom and all the surrounding are going to have a full-on riot and cats and dogs living together, total anarchy.
I
It's-
say just kill Lucio and get a democratic system in order.
Oh, we're going regicide now, are we?
Here's the thing: the family responsible for the democratic system is
mean,
one of the victims.
It's also
Here
worth
for the
It's also worth
for the
noting,
justice.
if we're going the regicide route, now we need to kill a dragon because
Well, no, the
I was
dragon
about
is.
to say,
good luck with that.
Well, no, he was an advisor. He wasn't one of the noble titles.
He has as
fucking
much
founded all
power
of
as
this.
he's the founder of the kingdom.
He-
We didn't know that at the time. Okay, no, keep reading.
we do now, though.
Whether it was through foolishness, negligence, or both, the defendant willingly signed a blood contract. She compromised herself, and as a result, 3 nobles died.
Who obviously deserved it.
The responsibilities fall squarely on her.
Wait,
In the square hole.
even if she willingly signed a contract, that's not entirely true, is it? I mean, the patron.
Patron.
Lucio, there's clearly someone else to blame for Arya's actions that day.
Oh, and who might that be?
I'd like to reread my client's blood contract to the court. By signing this contract, Arya Steelwind surrenders her mind, body, and soul to the patron. That can only mean one thing. Whoever this patron is, they took control of my client and used her to murder the victims.
That's right. It could still be out there. None of us are safe until this patron is apprehended.
Surely we can't end this trial while every member of the Wyvern Guard nobility is in danger.
Surely we can.
Well played.
I'm compelled to agree with Mr. Cuthbert.
I love
Fucking
how this-
royalist.
Trickery
ahead.
or not, it's clear someone wished ill intent on the nobles.
Until we know who that patron is, you can't pass judgment on my client. Not until we know the circumstances that she signed the blood contract under.
I love how Rathalion is like, I will be impartial to this whole thing, and the entire time is like, actually no, let Cuthbert cook. Keep letting him cook.
To be fair, he is being impartial compared to what the other judges were clearly just going for the offense.
Bigfoot, you weren't here. You weren't here because of Hurricane, but a few sessions ago,
Oh. Yeah.
we had. So you know how your biggest thing with Ace Attorney is like, yeah, they're weird. They tried to defend an orca at one point. We had something
A
like
dog.
No, even better. A
that.
monkey.
A monkey.
A monkey.
And
And-
they the game is like, Tyrion is like, my lord, I have a witness who will break this case in half.
Now,
Uh,
just bear with me for a moment.
Throws in a chimpanzee.
Literally,
Alright.
yes.
and
And
it's like,
the best part
there-
is, the monkey had bands of intellect, which means he could actually just straight up talk. It was great.
but I loved like everybody
Oh my
just
God.
just laughing their asses off, and like it's like, so hear me out. All right, what is it, Cuthbert? I would like to bring
A monkey.
to bring the witness's monkey to the stand. The
What?
judge is just like, all right, never mind. I'm ready to deliver my verdict.
It's like, wait.
Hold on, Your Honor. There's technically no law against bringing a monkey to the stand.
There's
I wanna
nothing
imagine
in
the
the rule
monkey
book
should-
that says a
Right about
monkey
that.
can't be put on the stand.
I want to imagine the monkey showed up with a suit and tie. Anyway.
Pretty close, I think.
Better. It had a freaking pipe to smoke.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
was-
It was literally. It's the friggin' like chimpanzee doctor
you
from Free
really
Space.
Need to go back and watch that clip because it's so fucking good.
Show
I
me
was
after we're
laughing.
done.
Yeah, we'll
I'm
do.
laughing my ass off the whole time.
Read.
And
Or
what
by
would
God, I'll
you
introduce
have
you
us
to a
do,
chimpanzee.
Cuthbert? The contract has no stipulations about proximity or how this mind control works. For all we know, this patron could have murdered the victims all while sitting in their very home.
There was a clear intent behind this attack. Even if the patron didn't directly participate in the murders, they definitely had a motive. If Arya was being controlled, we can analyze her behavior to determine who was controlling her.
I see. That does sound as good a plan as any. At the very least, we can allow this patron to escape justice. It really feels weird to hear me talking about justice. I'm usually talking about being evil. Well, anyways, despite the questions raised, we've clearly made some headway. I believe we should take a brief recess to process these revelations.
Huh, very well. I shall reconvene with the League of Villainous Evildoers, maniacally united for frightening investments and naughtiness.
I forgot that was a thing.
Rathalion
welcome,
Ruins
welcome.
Incorporated.
You step outside the Scaled Lord's lair to get some fresh air. These new revelations are a lot to take in. Celeste looks especially down. From what you've observed, she and Arya have been speaking to each other a lot. They must have become friends over the many times they've met. You can't
Yes,
imagine how
friends.
powerless she feels right now.
They hold
Arya,
hands and
I'm so sorry. Don't be.
Her voice begins to break. She's always been stoic, but it's clear even she has a breaking point. I can't imagine what you're feeling right now, but there's still hope. If we can find out who did this to you, we can still save you. Do you remember if you've signed anything recently?
No, I don't.
Damn it, the patron must have wiped your memory to cover their tracks.
But I still don't understand. Even if I don't remember signing that contract, I don't think I would be that careless.
Right, as much as I hate to admit it, Lucio was right. You're an attorney like me, and we always carefully look over contracts before we sign them. Which raises the question of how the patron got your signature.
I don't know.
We don't even know the circumstances you were under when you signed the contract. For all we know, the patron could have used any number of tactics to coerce you into doing this.
That's also possible. Arya?
As you're deliberating amongst yourselves, Lord Steelwind approaches you.
What are you doing here? Father? I can't believe him! How does he have nothing to say?
His actions say otherwise, but you could have sworn you saw something through this eye. It's almost as if he was sad and worried. Well, no matter how he feels internally, he's made it clear that he's your enemy. Whatever his motivations are, you'll overcome him, just like everyone else. We should also head back, Celeste.
Right.
No matter what it takes, you're going to see through this. Sai, when you get a moment, reset your mic.
God damn it!
Alright, that's now resumed. Shall we pick up where we carried off? How would you like to proceed?
I think we should review what we do know about the murders.
We do have a plethora of witnesses to work with.
That's correct, so let's start from the beginning. It all began at noon yesterday morning. I was in my house in Rathholm with Arya and my bodyguard Celeste. I was speaking with them when a courier suddenly delivered a letter to my home. It was from Garrick Pierce. He wanted to meet with me and Celeste at the Grand Cathedral of the Scaled Lord at 2:00 p.m. To make sure we were on time, we arrived at the Grand Cathedral at 1. At the time, we didn't know that the cathedral was closed to the public, but the knights guarding the cathedral allowed us through anyways. Apparently, they were expecting us. That should... Oh.
That should not have been possible. Due to the solemnity of the situation, we were very particular about who was permitted to enter the cathedral.
It's possible someone pulled the strings to let us through.
Or you two entered the cathedral illegally.
Well, I'm sure that knight from the Kingsguard can vouch for us.
I know about every order given to the Kingsguard, and none of them were told to let you two through.
It's possible the night we met fell comatose like the others, and as long as they're unresponsive, we'll never know.
Perhaps we should continue.
Anyways, we arrived at the church and spent the next hour sightseeing before we went to meet with Pierce. In that time, we met with Remus, Lucio, Arya, Aster, and Ulrich. And around that time, Arya and Aster left together to meet with the High Speaker in his quarters. While exploring the cathedral, we spoke with Von Sanctus and Sybil. Then spoke with the three Frege sisters and Eris Ilmater. Pokemon.
Eris Ilmater.
She's a friend of Beatrice Frege. The Kingsguard wouldn't let her bring her familiar into the cathedral, so she brought Eris to guide her instead. Anyways, we left the garden around 1:45 to meet with Pierce in the prayer room. At around that same time, Arya left her meeting with the High Speaker and felt nauseous. The last thing she remembers is looking at Lake Galacrond.
A likely story.
Regardless, at 2 p.m., Aster went to pay respects to his father's body. Unbeknownst to him, a mage had placed a glyph of contingency in front of his father's coffin. It was set to trap him with a force cage.
Ah, what a despicable act.
Considering what followed, the attack on His Majesty must have been a diversion.
Right. It was also at this time that both Beatrice and Eris went missing. Considering the timing of it all, someone must have taken control of Beatrice's body after the trap on Aster was sprung.
And are you saying this patron controlled her as well?
No, I don't think so. According to her contract, her mind belongs to the Empress of Discord, not the patron. Furthermore, Arya's blood contract was created by the Empress. It's clear that the patron and the Empress were in league with each other.
Wonderful. Another demon we have to worry about. It's like
Anyways.
a demon bargain sale in here.
The patron and the Empress had all of the pieces they needed. That's when they began the massacre. The patron took control of Arya's body, and they used her to murder Von Sanctus at 2:05 p.m. Presumably, Arya started the fire in the common room around this time. Since Von Sanctus's body was found there, this must have been after she murdered him. Shortly after, Prince Ulrich spotted the smoke from the fire and asked Arya what was going on. Arya responded by using another unknown transmutation spell to incapacitate him.
To think they would use her to attack the princess the prince as well.
No, the princess! From now on, you should only refer to him as Princess Trunks!
I mean, he's a brat, so you kind of deserve it anyways.
Luckily, the effects of that spell were only temporary, and Ulrich came out unharmed. After this, the patron used Arya to murder Sybil at 2:15 p.m. She brought Sybil's body to the westward balcony, where she dumped it into the Lake Galacrond. High Speaker Arceus witnessed this, but he wasn't aware of what she'd thrown off the balcony until much later. The High Speaker thought this encounter was strange, but continued with his business. He headed to the prayer room, but was turned away by the knights standing guard there. Meanwhile, Celeste and I were talking to Lord Pierce. When we showed up for the meeting earlier, he was clearly expecting someone else to show up. We tried to get to the bottom of what was happening, but he refused to answer our questions. At about 2:20, we heard a commotion outside. Celeste went to investigate, and that's when Celeste fought Arya. The patron's target was Garrick Pierce, but Celeste was too powerful to neutralize. They fought each other for about 15 minutes before Arya was able to push past her. During their fight, the Empress sent Beatrice into the prayer room. She probably made Beatrice invisible to move undetected, then used her to cast a sleep spell on Pierce and me to knock us out. I remember checking the time close to when this happened. This must have happened at 2:30 p.m.
If your testimony is correct, Beatrice Frege was actively used in this plan.
Yes, and considering how quickly the massacre unfolded, the Empress must have coordinated with the patron. They probably planned how they would use Beatrice and Arya to carry out the murders. Anyways, after Beatrice knocked us out, Arya finally pushed past Celeste and entered the prayer room. And before Celeste could chase after her, she had already murdered Pierce. Arya and I were already unconscious by the time Celeste entered the room. The patron had already achieved their goal of murdering 3 nobles, so she probably fell unconscious after they released control over her. Arya and I regained consciousness shortly after. That's when the Inquisition arrested her for the murders.
Lord Pierce was one of the victims. Your meeting clearly had more significance than I realized. So, tell us, Cuthbert, what was your discussion about?
It's fine. You can tell them.
Alright, as long as it's okay with you. For the past few months, Celeste and I have been investigating who her birth parents are.
I recall receiving many complaints about her during the Lord's Ball.
Supposedly, Garrick Pierce had the information we were seeking. That letter he sent us said that he wanted to trade this information for his freedom. I assumed that this meant that he wanted me to be his attorney.
Do you honestly expect us to believe that? Why would he ask help from the attorney who indicted him in the first place?
We thought the same thing. When we arrived for the meeting, it was clear I wasn't the intended recipient. This means that Pierce sent the letter to someone else.
You better not be lying to us, Cuthbert.
Frankly, I don't much care if you believe me. Regardless, if we examine every action Arya took, we can build a psychological profile of the patron. Oh, I just thought of
I
something.
will give you that.
Oh, yeah. Hang on. Do we have that letter in evidence?
I hope you understand. I would never have contacted you unless I had no other choice.
What the hell is that?
I know the truth behind McCoy's true parentage.
I actually don't
Aware
know
how
if that's
vital this information
right.
is. As you know, my execution is scheduled for next month, and I'm running out of time. I want to trade this information with you. In exchange, you will grant me my freedom. Meet me within the private prayer room within the Grand Cathedral of the Scaled Lord at 2 p.m. You will save me from my fate or else.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Real quick.
All right,
as
be
well,
afraid. Rex just gave me alcohol.
Oh no.
I'm excited. I just realized the paper was torn somewhere in the half, right?
Yeah, it means that the or else probably continues on.
Wait. Go back to the contract quick. Or the letter, sorry.
Back top.
The letter's at the top. The letter's at the top.
The letter that you were just reading.
The letter.
The lid. The lid.
The paper is torn in the middle. I'm wondering if the contract could have been part of this.
That's what I was thinking there.
Mm-hmm.
Because
You will save me from my fate.
Or
there's a
else.
large empty space at the top half of the page. And
Oh.
What if she's trying to
Wait.
try and figure out who Celeste's parents were?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I think. Yep. I think that's correct.
I will give you that.
To begin, the defense would like to call the Inquisition commander to the stand. His testimony might shed some light on how Von Sanctus and Sybil died. Despite these witness accounts, we only know how Pierce was murdered.
Yes, he was impaled using a blade magically frozen from his own blood.
In a grim sort of way, it's almost poetic that he died the same way Flintheart did. But you doubt that will give Celeste any kind of closure. Anyways, we need to figure out exactly how Arya murdered Von Sanctus and Sybil. The massacre was swift and efficient. It must have required a lot of forethought and coordination. If we figured out who might have had this knowledge, we might be able to find out who did this.
I see. That sounds as good a plan as any.
Kingsguard, or escort Commander Orm White to the witness stand. Oh lord, we're about to have some more incompetency.
Fuck you.
Witness, state your name and occupation.
Right,
Starting off strong here. Commander.
I'm sorry, I just can't do this. How am I supposed to act like this is normal? A giant lizard is standing right behind me.
What did you call me? Yeah.
Calling me a lizard is highly offensive, Commander. Sorry, Scale Lordship, sir.
Commander, just try your best to testify about what happened.
I am a dinosaur.
Even that is an insult to a dragon, I think.
Well, no, actually, if it's warm-blooded. Dinosaurs were warm-blooded, so
I mean,
it would theoretically be a dinosaur.
Yeah.
But try comparing a gold dragon to a Tyrannosaurus Rex. The dragon will still be so much more prideful and say that they're way better than them, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
It all started when we received a report from the Kingsguard. Prosecutor attacked Prince Alaric and a fire had broken out in the common room. We weren't sure what the deal with Steel was,
I gotta
so we
go.
went to the
Boink.
common room to put out the fire. But when we got there, we noticed a bunch of unconscious knights in front of the prayer room. We went to the prayer room, that's when we found Steelwind and Cuthbert unconscious next to Pierce's dead body. We later found the bodies of Von Sanctus and Sybil too. That's when we realized that she offed all three of them.
So you have no idea how Steelwind was used to murder Von Sanctus or Sybil?
Not a clue. It's especially worse for Von Sanctus. That fire burned a lot of the physical evidence off his body.
What about Sybil? Was there any physical evidence on her body?
No idea about that either. She didn't have any wounds either. All we know is that she died of suffocation.
There's definitely more information that you can glean from their investigation. Well, let's see what we can press out. And this is mainly based on Prince Ulrich's testimony, am I correct?
Yeah, still have no idea which transmutation spell she hit him with.
Judging from the time of the report, this must have been well after all three of the murders occurred.
Yeah, it was unfortunate how that played out. Steelwind really was controlled. Whoever controlled her knew how to get the job done quickly.
That leaves the question of how they did this so efficiently. Was that wise? Regardless of who it was, someone assaulted the Prince of Wyverngard.
We were already dealing with the king who was trapped in that force cage. Honestly, a lot happened in that hour. And most of our attention was focused on keeping the royal family safe.
We can already conclude that the attack on the king was a distraction. Whoever orchestrated this must have known we'd focus on our attention on keeping the royal family safe.
You suppose that makes sense? And the casualties still included many knights from the Kingsguard. They probably had to spread their forces thin to protect everyone else and handle the fire in the common room.
What did you do when you arrived at the common room, Commander? Lord, I am glad I don't work tomorrow. I exchanged Von Sanctus for Lucio Steelwind. My voice is gonna be fucked.
Did you see Arya or Celeste? Min?
No, we only saw the aftermath of their fight. There are marks and craters everywhere in that hallway.
Pierce's time of death was 2:45, and the knights didn't arrive at the common room until 3:10. They didn't arrive at the prayer room until well after the battle had taken place.
Wait, wouldn't that mean that you were in the room with Pierce's body for 25 minutes? Why didn't you look for help?
You weren't waking up for some reason, so I kept channeling my healing magic into you. Looking back, I probably should have just looked for help. But even if Arya was unconscious, I didn't want to leave you alone in the room, but
Right. Sorry. Recalling that moment is clearly taking a toll on her mind. You should be more careful. I feel like we shouldn't. I feel like we really need to know why she was freaking out. Judging from the timing, this would have been several minutes after he'd already died.
Yeah, we have no idea what was going on. Pierce was already dead. You and Steelwind were unresponsive.
I can see why I'd be unresponsive. I was hit with a spell specifically designed to make people sleep. But why would Arya be unresponsive too?
We have no idea. Never even heard of demonic possession until today. For all we know, it could have all been a side effect of being controlled for over an hour.
I suppose that makes sense, but could that common thread truly be a mere coincidence? That last statement was a little vague. Perhaps you should ask him to elaborate more on one of the murders. But which of those murders should he elaborate on? Sanctus. Could you elaborate more on Von Sanctus's murder? Was there any evidence that implied how he died?
Like I said, it's trickier with Von Sanctus because the fire partially burned his body. And our divination magic can only tell that he died of suffocation.
I see. So there's no other physical evidence?
Well, there is one thing. From his burn marks, we do know that he was hit with a firebolt before he died. We're guessing she wanted to weaken him before she dealt the final blow.
So he took a direct attack from her before he died. Anyways, please add this to your testimony, Commander White.
Sure, whatever you say, kid.
Yeah, there it is. From the burns on the body, she must have hit him with a firebolt to keep him from getting away. He didn't have anything to defend himself with. Yeah. Up. Do we just present the spell compendia? No, this one. No, not that one. Hello? Is it just the spell compendium? Might just be
What
the spell
is
compendium.
in his spell book?
He knows Force Cage. There we go. Huh. That's strange.
What is now?
I'm just one step ahead. It's fine. Commander White, you said that Steelwind attacked Von Sanctus with a firebolt before she suffocated him.
Yeah, she probably wanted to injure him so he'd be easier to subdue.
But that's what I find strange. Von Sanctus knew he was under attack. So wouldn't he cast Force Cage to repel her?
Well, I guess that's true.
Von Sanctus was hardly a warrior, Cuthbert. Force Cage is an extremely useful spell, but it has to be aimed. He was hit with a firebolt and must have been in immense pain. I doubt he'd be able to think clearly under those conditions.
I'd normally agree with you, but the crime scene tells another story.
What do you mean, Mr. Cuthbert?
There we go.
What implies that Von Sanctus cast Force Cage?
Like I said, I was one step ahead. Needed to step back a little bit. When we investigated the crime scene, we found traces of abjuration magic that formed a perfect square around the body. I'm sure if we measured the dimensions of that square, it would be 10 feet by 10 feet.
Alright, the alcohol's kicking in.
Yep.
Fuck.
Yay!
Which is the same length and width.
Celeste's been hitting the lotus
Force
juice.
Lotus juice.
Like you said,
I can't help it, it's so good!
like you said, he was in no shape to aim it. So we cast Force Cage on himself to create a makeshift barrier.
Nonsense. If Von Sanctus had cast Force Cage on himself, he should have been protected from further harm. The defendant would have been able to...
I just realized.
Hmm?
Firebolt on him, set his clothes on fire. He makes
Oh.
Force Cage around himself. He causes carbon
The smoke
monoxide
can't
poisoning on himself.
Yep.
Ha!
Yep. You're totally right.
Played him like a goddamn fiddle.
The defendant wouldn't have been able to suffocate him after that.
Perhaps there's some way to bypass Force Cage.
And once again, your ignorance of the arcane arts is made apparent. Force Cage is one of the most powerful abjuration spells in existence. Can't be dispelled, and no one can teleport into or out of it.
Right. Aster was also trapped in a Force Cage, and he had to wait for the hour duration to elapse. So how did Steelwind suffocate him? Wait. If Force Cage is a perfectly closed space, is it possible that he ran out of air?
That would be a glaring weakness. House Von Sanctus obviously designed that spell to allow oxygen through the barrier. Before you ask, poisonous gases can't be pushed through the barrier either. Only oxygen can travel through it.
Right, and even if they had used poisonous gas, the autopsy report would have said he was suffocated. Wouldn't have said he was suffocated. Only oxygen can travel through the bounds of the Force Cage. So how did Arya suffocate Von Sanctus despite that?
The fire.
Consumed all the oxygen inside the cage. No? What?
Consumed.
Von Sanctus!
Consumed Von Sanctus inside the cage.
No.
Oh, I see. If oxygen is the only thing that can pass through, what if there's no oxygen outside the cage for it to go in? The fire consumed all the oxygen in the room.
Force Cage is specifically designed to allow oxygen through its barrier. But what if there was no oxygen left in the room?
No oxygen. Ah, I see.
It was the fire in the common room, which I did not start by any means. You cannot prove that I am a fire-breathing dragon.
We're told.
Death to you!
Yes, Your
It's
Honor.
fire on him for the execution.
And he's gone.
Okay, luckily we have a necromancer in the court right now.
The patron knew Arya couldn't harm Von Sanctus once he was in that force cage. So she started a fire to eat all the oxygen within the room.
What should have protected him ended up trapping him, and the inability to dispel it ended up sealing his fate.
I suppose that explains how the defendant murdered Von Sanctus. But with that in mind, a lot of this plan sounds like it was improvised at the moment.
Just like the murder of Pierce. And not only that, we assumed that the patron used the same method to kill both Lord Von Sanctus and Lady Sybil. I doubt Lady Sybil died under the same circumstances.
Correct. There was only one fire. And if Sybil was in that force cage, the defendant wouldn't have been able to throw her over into Lake Galacrond. Which means Sybil must have died by asphyxiation elsewhere.
Well, then it's clear our next course of action is to determine how Lady Sybil was murdered.
We still don't know where she was murdered.
And the only witness who saw her around this time was the High Speaker.
Which was after the defendant disposed of Sybil's body.
Well, the High Speaker's testimony is as good a start as any. For our next witness, the defense would like to call the High Speaker Theon Arceus to the stand. What's wrong?
That's nothing. Please, carry on.
Kingsguard, escort High Speaker Arceus to the witness stand. Witness,
About
you
the
will
final
testify about. Oh, great and blessed scaled Lord! Think you would grace us with your presence?
Oh my god.
Doesn't he mean oh my me? Oh, forgive me, Lord Rithalion. I spoke out of turn. Oh, you must think I'm an arrogant fool.
Wow, it looks like the witness is schmoozing the judge for once.
How many times do I have to tell you people that I'm not a god? Yes, I revere and serve the god of dragons, but I'm not Bahamut's avatar.
But you are the scaled Lord.
I'm just a dragon. I'm not even a powerful one. I'm not a deity.
This humility. Exactly what Bahamut's avatar would say.
Oh, I swear to God.
Even squares for the god's name.
Look, Lucio, please, handle this.
This is amazing.
I love this.
Riders, I know you're not watching us, but I want you to know I love you with every fiber of my
This is
being.
so good. I'm so glad we
Alright,
decided
write
to
your love
play
letter
through
to them
this
in the
game.
email.
I'm so glad we decided to play through this game.
This is the best decision we made.
Oh my god.
Perhaps another approach is warranted. High Speaker Arceus, the great and powerful Rithalion, calls upon you today.
The great and powerful
Why,
rebellion!
You require my blood? Of course, I'd gladly give my life for the Scaled Lord. What? No! Of course, my blood could never be enough. Would you just let me? I will do as you wish, my lord. It may take some time, though. I'll need some time to gather some followers and...
Oh my God! We just want your testimony. Just tell us what you saw when Miss Steeler was at the Edgewood balcony yesterday.
Oh my god.
It says something when this game is making me laugh.
I want to note, I'm drinking and Pokemon's laughing harder than me.
Yeah.
This game is making me laugh harder than Monster Prom.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Oh, I see. If that's what you truly wish, my lord.
Are we just going to ignore how ready he was to commit mass murder?
No, it's Black Mass murder. You know about the Black Mass?
Oh my
A bunch
God.
of demons. Be quiet, we just got him to calm down. This team is so good with writing. Oh my lord. I was doing some paperwork in my quarters, and I suppose I lost track of the time. My alarm went off, and I realized it was time for my afternoon prayers. I began heading to the prayer room when I spotted Lady Steelwind looking over the westward balcony. I tried to greet her, but she didn't respond to me. That's when I noticed she was pushing something large over the balcony and into Lake Galacron. I asked her what she was doing, but again she ignored me and went towards the prayer room. I thought nothing of it and made my way there as well. That's when the guards there turned me away. I went back to my quarters to do my prayers there.
Considering the timing of it all, this must have happened minutes before she began attacking the prayer room.
Yes, I consider myself lucky. The Scaled Lord must have graced me with his divine luck.
Please, just stop.
I love.
Considering how
Oh,
lucky,
God.
how quickly she was moving, there has to be a reason why she waited there. Was she waiting for the High Speaker to leave? Perhaps you should closely examine the timing of these events.
I will be right back.
Mhm.
I just need a moment.
So she ignored you. What was her expression like?
It was very cold and emotionless. The patron must have had control of her when this happened. Yes, that certainly makes the most sense.
What time did this encounter happen?
It was shortly after my alarm went off. It was definitely before 2:15 p.m.
Do we have the full... I don't think we have a full breakdown, do we?
Was it on the map? I thought we had a map of, like, the route they took.
The patron was
Should be
probably
obvious,
trying to
but I
keep
needed a drink.
That's fair. The patron was probably trying to keep her on track, but I'm surprised she didn't attack you. Even if the patron was trying to frame her. She hadn't killed Pierce yet.
Yes, I'm a little confused about that myself. But perhaps I should just be happy I came out of that encounter unharmed.
Anyways, how long did you talk to her?
Our encounter was very brief, since she was ignoring me. It couldn't have lasted more than 2 minutes.
No.
There was I swear we had something that showed us, like, the route that they
Yeah. Don't know which one that is, though. Oh. It's just this one, but it doesn't have the times.
took. Right.
Whatever. Right, and these guards are still comatose. Makes you uneasy that you still don't have any explanation for that. The Empress of Discord used some kind of demonic magic to do that? The Eye of Horus doesn't leave magical traces, so it's possible that demonic magic is the same. Either way, it's awfully convenient he left right before the attack on the prayer room happened. But you suppose you'll have to put a pin in that for now. Anyway, what time did this happen?
I believe it was 2:15. That's when I usually arrive at the prayer room. I'm also eating a little bit of ice cream.
You were in your quarters during the massacre.
Yes, as I mentioned before, my room is magically soundproof. The guards and I were woefully unaware of what was happening. I didn't know what was happening until some members of the King's Guard came to inform me what happened to the king.
Some members of the Kingsguard were with him there. were there with him, and he mentioned that his guards were there too. I don't know why that one was typed out like that. That was fucking weird. They can all probably verify this, but it's still a little hard to believe how close he came to harm that day. Anyways, how long were you in your quarters for?
I waited there until the King's Guard notified me it was safe. I think I waited there until 3:15.
Which was around the time that Arya was arrested. It's a very small time frame between Sybil's death and Arya's attack on the prayer room. The details of his testimony could make a huge difference depending on when each event happened. You should see if he remembers the exact time each part of his testimony occurred. Yeah, just keep pressing him. Also, hang on, I need to check something. Keep pressing. An alarm?
Rudimentary artificery device. I use it to remind me to conduct daily prayers.
I see. And do you have it set to go off at a specific time?
Yes, it is set up to go at 2:10. 5 minutes before my afternoon prayers. 2:10 for the first one.
So she was looking over Lake Galacrond.
Knowing what I do now, it's possible she was making sure she could throw Lady Sybil's body into the lake from there.
She was clearly fine with you witnessing her act suspiciously. Why would she even go to the trouble of hiding Sybil's body in the first place?
The patron clearly needed to delay when the murders were discovered. The defendant wasn't able to do much. Able to murder Pierce until much later, after all.
I suppose that makes sense, but they probably didn't plan to fight Celeste for that long. There has to be a reason why she threw Sybil's body into the lake. Oh, yeah, sorry, this is all new. I thought we pressed this one already, but I guess not. And that must have been Sybil's body.
I suppose so.
You don't sound so sure of yourself.
I just recall Lady Sybil's garb to be much brighter. Meanwhile, the thing I saw Lady Steelwind throw over the balcony was much darker.
Right, you mentioned that before.
It was a clear trick of the sunlight. That balcony is directly above where we found Lady Sybil's body in Lake Galacrond. You obviously saw the defendant dumping her body. What else could it have been? Yes, I suppose you're right. Patron.
Oh, he has all the... He has
Okay,
all the times
updated
now.
all of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So before
I was-
2:15, still before 2:15, our encounter was short. That's when I noticed she was pushing something large over the balcony. Oh wait, hang on. Sybil's death. There we go. That's what it was. Wait, what?
Is something wrong?
There is, but I'm not really sure what it means.
Stop stammering and say what you want to say.
Hi, Speaker. You said that you saw Arya dumping something over the ledge of her balcony.
There's no
Toxic wind.
my throat. There's no need to be vague, Cuthbert. Clear from the evidence that he saw my daughter dumping Lady Sybil's body.
That's the thing, Lord Steelwind. It couldn't have been Sybil's body.
What are you talking about?
The location from that balcony to where we found Sybil's body lines up perfectly.
That may be, but the witness just said he saw Arya dumping the body before 2:15 p.m.
Wait.
You see it too, don't you, Lucio? How did Arya dump Coraline Sybil's body into Lake Galacron before 2:15 if her time of death was 2:18 p.m.?
I see. That does seem peculiar.
I love this music.
But we know the defendant threw Sybil's body from that balcony. There would be no other explanation for how it ended up there.
Yes, that's also true.
Perhaps she was still alive when Arya threw her off that balcony. She could have been knocked unconscious with a sleep spell.
Your Grace, there was no traces of conjuration on her body. Even if she was asleep, she wouldn't have survived a fall from that height. The distance from that balcony to the lake is more than 30 stories. The autopsy report says the cause of death was suffocation, not blunt force.
Right. So when did she die? After she hit the water. She must have died after she hit the water.
Well, Mr. Cuthbert, Lucio just said that she would have died upon impact.
That's assuming she didn't do anything to lessen the blow. She might have had the opportunity to cast a spell to protect herself. That might explain why her body isn't as damaged despite falling from such a great height.
Again, that doesn't match with the evidence. Lady Sybil's spell compendium contains the spell Slow Fall. She had the proper opportunity to cast a spell. She would have used that spell to slow her descent. She wouldn't have taken any damage from hitting the lake if she'd done that.
It's a really good point. But just indulge me for a second. She must have cast Stone Skin on herself.
Stone Skin.
If you recall, the next speaker mentioned that something was strange about the object Arya threw over the balcony. It was much darker and didn't match with Sybil's usual garb. Almost as if there was something else Sybil was wearing.
That object was actually Lady Sybil, protected by a layer of stone.
That still doesn't explain why she would cast that instead of Slow Fall.
He's right. Sybil cast Stone Skin before...
Being thrown.
Yeah. She cast Stone Skin on herself before she was thrown into the lake. Arya must have attacked her, and she cast that spell in response.
That would protect her from the Steel Wind strike. Our family,
He's a signature spell that none of you can get, he says, bragging to the gallery.
but that doesn't seem quite right.
What do you mean?
I may not have seen much, but I saw the object Arya dumped was stiff and motionless. Lady Sybil, she would have been struggling against her, wouldn't she?
That's a good point, too. The High Speaker saw Arya dumping a motionless Sybil. If we assume my logic is correct, she would have also been alive. So why wasn't she struggling against Arya?
Can you check the...
Mm,
Check what spells was cast on, like, spell types. Transmutation, Evocation, and Necromancy.
yeah. Knocked out by a spell, I think it's, what was it? Feign Death. There we go. Oh, that's already unconscious. Unconscious.
Hang on, what spells did Arya know again?
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's a good point.
Continues at the bottom.
Mend wounds, firebolt-shaped liquid, dispel magic, steal and strike, detect magic, polymorph, and hold creature. Gotcha.
Old creature.
Was affected by just making sure. Hold creature is evocation. Does that match?
Yep.
Evocation.
She
Yep.
does know an evocation. Yep, and she was affected by evocation.
She must have been affected by a spell, and considering it kept her from resisting Arya, the patron must have made Arya cast the spell onto her. There we go. It was hold creature. Sybil must have cast Stoneskin on herself when Arya attacked her. The patron must have known that Arya couldn't physically damage her like that, so they ordered her to restrain Sybil with that spell.
Huh. And Sybil died by suffocation.
That's right, Lucio. Even if she was restrained, Sybil was still protected by Stoneskin. That would have left only one option for the patron. Sybil was choked
Sybil
by Lake, drowned in Lake Galacrond.
drowned.
Sybil suffocated when Arya threw her into Lake Galacrond. Her Stoneskin lessened the impact of the fall, but it also made her drop like a literal rock. Arya's hold creature spell prevented her from being moved or releasing her spell. She was helpless as she sank to the bottom of the lake.
I believe that covers all three of the murders then.
Yes. Lord Von Sanctus suffocated to death in his own force cage.
Lady Sybil drowned after Arya cast hold creature on her. And Lord Pierce died after being wounded by a blade created with shaped liquid. The only common thread I see is that the patron used some of the victims' magics against them.
What was that connect to Pierce? Did he cast shaped liquid to make the blade to defend himself? Maybe the murderer took it from him and used it against him? No, but he was unconscious alongside you. He couldn't have been the one to create that blade. Anyways, whoever did this had an in-depth knowledge of each of the spells they used to defend themselves. They knew that Von Sanctus couldn't dispel his own force cage, and they knew that he still needed oxygen from within it. And in Sybil's case, they knew Arya couldn't physically harm her once she had Stoneskin active.
They also knew that hold creature would prevent Sybil from dispelling her own Stoneskin.
Not only that, they did all of this in a quick time frame. Von Sanctus and Sybil died within 30 minutes of each other. 13. Ooh. And if Arya hadn't encountered Celeste, Pierce might have died just as quickly.
So whoever did this had an in-depth knowledge of high-level magic.
Not only that, they came up with creative ways to bypass the defenses put up by Von Sanctus and Sybil. Unlike they're trying to metagame and use things to
Yes. They have the ability to react quickly and decisively.
but considering the circumstances, that hardly narrows it down. Several members of the Pillared families were present that day. Each and every one of them studied at the Imperial Academy. They would all be knowledgeable in magic and its applications.
What they're saying isn't sitting right by you for some reason. There's something there, so why can't you see it? It's no use, you just can't piece it together yet. Not finished yet. And there's another angle to this. Consider who the patron did and didn't target. The victims were Lord Von Sanctus, Coraline Sybil, and Garrick Pierce. What's a similarity that we can draw between at least two of them?
Von Sanctus and Pierce. Oh, Sybil and Von Sanctus are house secrets. I'm sorry.
Von Sanctus and Sybil were the heads of their respective noble houses.
Are you saying the patron's goal was to assassinate the leaders of the Four Pillars?
That's the motive that makes the most sense, but that does leave one question.
Don't be coy, I'm not daft, Cuthbert.
Actually, I highly doubt it was you.
Really now?
Out of most people there, you could have easily tricked your daughter into signing a blood contract. But why would you need to do that? You're the Grand General of Wyvern Guard's military, and the cathedral was filled with your men. You could have easily equipped one of your best mages to carry out this massacre, and you wouldn't even need to make a deal with the demon to do so.
So why wasn't Lucio targeted then?
From our encounter with Celeste, it's clear that there's a limit to Arya's combat capabilities. The patron might have simply doubted Arya's ability to defeat the Grand General. But there's also another explanation. The patron wanted to frame Arya for the murders. No? What?
House Steelwind using Arya. To make them suffer?
Rathalion wanted to frame. No.
No, the patron wanted to frame House Steelwind to make them suffer. It's either that or Arya to make them suffer. To frame Arya.
Wanted to frame Arya.
To frame House.
It might be House Steelwind.
Yeah.
Try House Steelwind to make them suffer.
For the murders.
The patron wanted to kill the victims to make them suffer. Try that.
No.
They wanted them to see her. Wanted to frame. From the nobility. Using Arya? What the fuck? Wanted to kill the victims using Arya. No.
Why didn't the patron target Lucio Steelwind?
This is... This is a weird one.
This is a really weird one. I'm trying to figure out what direction it wants us to go with this.
Wanted to frame House... Did you try House Steelwind to make them suffer?
I'm pretty sure.
I think we did.
Yeah.
Okay.
They wanted people to see her.
Patron made no attempt to kill Lucio. When they were controlling Arya, they didn't make any attempt to hide her actions. They wanted to frame Arya. Frame House Steelwind using Arya. To frame the victims
Wait.
using Arya is not what I said.
So it's just...
I don't even know what's going on anymore.
Hang on. This is gonna sound weird, but try wanted to save. What? The patron wanted to save Tyrion. Using Arya, maybe?
No.
The patron wanted to save House Steelwind. The patron wanted to save House Steelwind. from the nobility.
It definitely feels like it should be the patron for the first one of these.
Yeah. Wanted to... to save House Steelwind from the nobility. What the fuck?
What do you want from us, game?
We're playing Tyrion Cuthbert, Shuichi. Have you...
What?
Just... entertain me. Do patron wanted to frame House Steelwind for the murders?
Oh!
We
It was actually that simple. What the
didn't do
fuck?
that.
The people...
Ryder,
The patron wanted to suspect House Steelwind for the murders. Jesus, alright. They used Lucio Steelwind's daughter to commit the crime. They intentionally left him alive to cast suspicion on him.
That's why they used my daughter.
Is that a tinge of anger you feel from him? Anyways, that leads me to my next point. Imagine if we never discovered Arya's blood contract from within the Empress of Discord. What would have happened?
we'd still think Miss Steelwind's come to Mage Blight.
Fuck.
She would have been convicted for the murders, and trust in House Steelwind would be forever diminished.
About a month ago, House Freyga lost its head, and his successor, LeFay Freyga, was woefully unprepared to take his place. Now, the heads of Von Sanctus and House Sybil are dead, with House Steelwind being held responsible for it all.
All four of the Pillar families would have been weakened as a result of the massacre.
And I think there's another layer to this. Everything fits together if we assume that the patron's goal was to weaken the Pillar families. Except for the murder of Garrick Pierce.
Yes, in comparison to Sybil and Von Sanctus, Pierce's political power pales in comparison.
Furthermore, Pierce was already scheduled to be executed next month for the murder of Flintheart McCoy. Why would the patron go to the trouble of murdering a condemned man? Pierce knew the identity of Celeste's parents. The patron murdered Pierce because they needed him to die as quickly as possible. Pierce knew the identity of Celeste's biological parents.
My parents?
Do you remember what Pierce said when we showed up for the meeting?
Ah, you finally arrived. I suppose this means you finally decided... Wait, you two?
We got your letter.
A letter? What letter?
You sent us a letter, Pierce. Sent that you knew who Celeste's parents were.
I did send that letter, but not to you two.
We weren't the intended recipients of that letter.
That's right!
So that leaves one last question. There's only one person Pierce could have sent that letter to. The person who orchestrated the massacre in the first place. The patron.
That means...
The patron is someone who would be threatened by Celeste's patronage.
Parentage, even.
By the way, I know it took us way too long to think about it, but her name is Celeste.
Yeah.
Order! Order in the court!
Probably something divine there.
Hmm.
Oh,
I-
sorry.
I don't understand.
I'm sorry. I know this is a lot to take in. I think they were targeting you for some reason. Pierce knew the identity of Celeste's parents and attempted to blackmail the patron with this. Instead of complying with Pierce's demands, the patron instead sent the letter to me.
But why go through the trouble of luring you there? Could have just allowed Pierce to wait in the prayer room while the defendant made her way to murder him.
Looking back on it, it's possible they wanted to kill Celeste too.
What?
They knew I wouldn't meet with Pierce alone, and the information he had was about her. The patron correctly guessed that I'd bring her with me. By killing both Pierce and Celeste, they'd eliminate any threat Celeste would pose to them.
But who would be threatened by such information?
The mere existence of McCoy posed a threat to them. Must have something to do with her birthright.
Right. So who would that leave?
The royal
Oh. What if the Eye Taker orchestrated the whole thing? No, yeah. Yeah, I suppose you're right. Anyway, we should consider the other suspects. Yeah, no, that's fair. King de Wyvernguard was recently deceased. What if Celeste was a member of the royal family?
I'm a princess?
I don't want to suspect Aster, but we need to consider every possibility. And when it comes to conflicts of inheritance, a royal line of succession is the first thing that comes to mind. Not only that, the king would have the authority to pardon Pierce for his crimes.
But that wouldn't entirely make sense.
What do you mean?
If McCoy was abandoned at a tavern in Cornhaven, you must assume she's a bastard child.
Okay, I don't know why you have to bring that up.
My point is that King Oliver wouldn't abandon a child of pure royal blood. Kingdom requires heirs to continue the royal bloodline. He would have leveraged her in a diplomatic marriage.
That's disgusting.
That's diplomacy. Anyways, even if McCoy was of royal blood, Aster is the eldest child. And he's of pure royal blood. McCoy would have no claim to the throne under these circumstances.
Right, I see what you mean. I suppose that eliminates Aster for now. Anyway, let's consider the other suspects.
House Steelwind.
As much as I have my doubts, House Steelwind is the only Pillar family whose house leader survived the past month.
You think I'm McCoy's biological father?
You're barely a father to your actual daughter.
Oh,
What do you
shit!
say, bitch?
I'm only saying that possibility for the sake of argument. As I've said, it wouldn't make sense for you to frame your own daughter when House Steelwind would be blamed. But we need to consider every possibility. Anyways, we should consider the other suspects. I recall during Beatrice Frega's trial, we heard William Frega's last will and testament. It mentioned that House Frega's assets would be divided evenly between all his children.
If McCoy would be to be revealed as a Frega, his daughters would be legally obligated to share the estate with her.
Could I seriously be afraid, huh?
You have the hair for it.
I don't want to suspect LeFay or Miriam, but we need to consider every possibility. And as we've seen, the Fregas are no strangers to making deals with demons. It still doesn't feel quite right. I doubt LeFay or Miriam would do something like this.
What are you basing that on?
I tend to be a good judge of character, and they just don't seem like the type to do something like this.
You are far too trusting.
Bitch, did you not see what I did last chapter? I literally judged someone's character so hard I jumped into the prosecution bench. Shut up.
Yeah.
Because my daughter was on death's row. I hold no doubt that any of William's children would be capable of something like this.
I suppose we'll have to see. I can't think of anyone else.
Yes, there's a flaw with each suspect. Your logic is clearly flawed.
Well, you don't see him coming up with any ideas. There's something here I'm not seeing. I know I'm close. There's a missing piece that ties all of this together.
Regardless, we still have no idea who this Empress of Discord is.
I have my own theories, but we'll see.
I'm loath to allow such an individual to walk freely through Wyvern.
Your Grace, you've been alive since the creation of Wyvern Guard and magic. Do you know who this demon is?
I can't say I do. The demons tend to take on many titles over their lifetimes. But whoever this Empress is, they are brave to so blatantly encroach on my domain like this.
Well, I suppose we'll just have to cross that bridge when we get there.
We've obtained a lot of information today, but we clearly have many questions that need to be answered. How should we proceed?
Ugh.
What is it, Mr. Cuthbert?
I can't help but feel there's something here I'm not seeing. Just can't put my finger on it.
Well, we have been working at this for quite a while. Perhaps we should suspend proceedings so that we can look into these new leads.
I have no objections. Give my men some time to look into what we've discovered today.
What?
Then it's settled.
What? But I didn't say my thing! What? What? Wait, no, I had a line! What? Hold up! No, but I was saying something! Excuse me!
Eris said no. You're not allowed to talk now, Tyrion.
For a second, I thought I accidentally skipped over my line, but no, it just doesn't exist!
We'll be postponing proceedings for now. But you'll all be expected to return here by tomorrow morning.
You're all free to return to your homes for the time being. But make no mistake, the King's Guard will be keeping careful watch over all of you.
Still this constant nagging sensation in the back of your mind.
Sorry, I was busy fucking around somewhere. Yes, Tyrion.
It's as if you've forgotten something extremely important.
Tyrion.
What is it? It could be so important yet so difficult to remember.
Tyrion!
Sorry. I was just thinking about everything.
You're looking really stressed out. Do you want to head back to your house to rest?
No, we only have a day until the trial resumes. If we can't figure out what happens after tomorrow, the magical traces will dissipate.
But you already know what happened. You just don't know who did it.
Yeah, but we should speak with the suspects again. Maybe if I get lucky, I'll see something through the Eye of Horus.
So true. But one of the suspects is the eye taker. What are you going to do about him?
I suppose I'll have to speak with him too.
What? No! What if he tries to kill you again?
Arya's life is on the line. It's just a risk I'll have to take.
Tyrion? Do you even understand what you've been pulled into?
What?
Someone just murdered a bunch of nobles, and they even attacked members of the royal family. Now there are ancient dragons and demon lords involved too. Isn't this above your pay grade?
Ouch.
You know that's not what I meant. It's just, this whole thing is crazy, isn't it? Crazy? I was crazy once.
It's fine. It's just like any other of our investigations.
It's not, though. What if the Empress of Discord attacks you? What if the patron decides that you're getting too close to the truth? What if I can't?
Her voice begins to crack. Celeste? Are you still worried about what happened during the massacre? I'm fine. I already told you that you didn't do anything wrong.
Oh my god. You almost died, Tyrion.
I know.
Tyrion. You almost died!
I know, Celeste.
No, Tyrion, I don't think you do. Do you have any idea how worried I was when she broke past me? When I saw you all lying on the floor, I... So many things were going through my mind. I don't know what I would have done if you were.
She can't even complete that last sentence. Celeste, You were so focused on everything else that you began ignoring her. She was attacked by Arya and almost died. You never thought about how traumatic that must have been for her. I'm sorry, I didn't think...
Don't apologize. Just please. Please just leave this to Lucio and Scout Lord. You've done enough already. Take the rest out.
And what if it's not enough?
I'm
not so arrogant to think they can't do it without me. But what if they can't figure out who the patron is? Arya will spend the rest of her life in prison. What if I could have done something to prevent that?
I don't care if that happens.
Celeste!
I don't care, Tyrion. I'll apologize to her all you want after this. But all I want is to keep you safe. And I don't know if I'm able to do that anymore.
Even she seems surprised by what she just said.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
I'm really happy you're part of my life.
But what?
I know what you're saying is coming from a place of care. I'm really sorry about how much I've been worrying about you lately, but...
You're not going to stop, are you?
It's like I've always said.
Ah, man, king or god. Nothing will stop you from getting the justice for your client. I'm going to talk to Lucio.
What?
If we're going to meet the Eye Taker again, we're bringing some knights with us.
Celeste, that's hardly...
Nope. You don't get to say any. You don't get to say any of this. And if you're not here when I get back, I will find you.
Judging from her expression, it's not an empty threat. Fine, just go. She might have a point, though. Before everything happened, you weren't even sure if you wanted to continue being an attorney. Maybe you should consider a safer, quieter life after all this is done.
With
Perhaps
me? I
life
mean,
with
what?
her. Yeah. Wait, what?
Guys, we gotta stop. Gotta stop frickin' predicting things.
All right, Lucio's cleared it. It was surprisingly easy to convince him.
Oh,
Are you okay?
I'm fine. Let's not waste any more time. Before she has any chance to respond, you hastily walked past her.
Hey, don't walk so far ahead.
You need to stay focused on the trial for Arya's sake. But when all of this is over, you'll... Well, you suppose you won't have to think... You don't have to think about that until then. I love these two. So good.
I'm seeing them available, Mr. Cuthbert.
Listen, official wise, the best Ace Attorney partner is like
Uh,
somewhere between Athena and Susato.
yeah.
But if you count this, no contest.
Yeah.
Those guys go from like top of the list to number 4. Celeste takes up slots 1 through 3.
Yep. Using the Kingsguard teleportation network, you arrive back in Ratholm. Due to Celeste's insistence, you're being escorted by a division of the Kingsguard. Definitely make you look out of place. As you walk through the city, you draw strange looks from nearly everyone who sees you.
Sir, where will we be heading first?
It's a little strange giving orders to knights. It's definitely going to take some getting used to. You still with us, Si?
Give me a sec. Give me a sec.
Do I have to like drive over to your house and like slap you to make you sober?
Yes, is the answer to that question, apparently.
Because if I do, I'm bringing my sister. You're gonna have to deal with both of us at the same time.
Oh no.
Shit. What's wrong?
There's definitely something I'm fundamentally missing, but what?
Just don't push yourself too hard, okay?
Yeah, I'll try to pace myself. Anyways, we should speak with each of the suspects and confirm their alibis. That might help me finally put things together.
Each of the nobles has returned to their respective homes, but our teleportation network should help you travel around Wyverngard. You know what? Let's travel all the way to
I mean,
the McCoy Tavern.
well, we can't do that yet. But I guess we'll start with the royal family. You arrive back at the Grand Cathedral of the Scaled Lord. You probably won't need to investigate the crime scenes again. You wonder if Aster or Lucio might be here.
Sir, I've spoken with the groundskeeper. His Majesty and the Grand General are currently visiting Lady Steelwind. But supposedly they'll be here later today to talk to the High Speaker.
Alright, I suppose we'll just have to come back later. Alright, Frege then. You arrive at Frege Manor, hoping to speak with Lefayre and Miriam. After some asking around, one of the servants mentions that they appear to be entertaining guests in the study. You normally wouldn't interrupt them, but you've already eaten up a lot of time traveling here. Whatever they're discussing can wait. Hi, Tracker. As you enter the study, Tracker runs up to you and begins barking. But once he sees who you are, he calms down.
Oh, hello, friends. Sorry for Bork. Tracker thought he smelled something bad.
Well, that's not a good sign. Is Iris
That's a
literally
concerning
just
sign.
is Iris literally just in our fucking shadow or something?
Oh, Mr. Cuthbert.
You scan the room and see that Miriam is here too. And they appear to be speaking with Lord Asclepius.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about this guy.
Yeah, he is very over-designed for someone who he spoke to, like, twice. Sorry for barging in, LaFay.
No problem at all.
Her emotions imply that she already knows why you're here. Now I'll skip the pleasantries. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions about what happened?
Of course, I'll do anything to help with Lady Steelwind's situation.
Should I leave?
No, you were there with me when everything happened. And your testimony will substantiate my alibi.
LaFay, I'm sure you know why I'm here. Just want to preface this by saying that I highly doubt you were behind this.
perfectly understand. Frankly, I'm also at a loss. I have no idea who did this. Miriam.
Sorry, I didn't know I was even there.
So we just got to you. Miriam!
What are you talking about? It was clearly that criminal, the eye taker. Why don't you go interrogate him?
Make no mistake, we fully intend to, but I'd like to cover everyone else before I confront him.
Let him be, Miriam.
But it's his fault that Beatrice is...
Our sister knew what she was doing when she gave her testimony. Don't insult her bravery by blaming Mr. Cuthbert for what happened.
What?
Anyway, Mr. Cuthbert has shown many times he's acting in good faith. He's capable of convicting criminals that even we can't see.
You mentioned Beatrice before. Did something happen?
It happened right after she gave her testimony this morning. She fell unconscious shortly after she left the Scaled Lord's lair. She hasn't woken up since then, and Marnath's gone missing.
What?
It must have been the Empress of Discord. After you manifested Lady Stearman's blood contract, we all realized why she was acting so strangely.
Right, if it weren't for her, I would have never considered trying to issue a divine edict.
She sacrificed herself to save Lady Stillwind.
I see our esteemed sister put her trust in you, commoner.
So we will do the same. If there's anything we can do to help you, please ask.
Appreciate your trust, all of you. But I have to ask, where were you all between 2 and 3 that day?
Luckily, we were all together.
Me, Lafay, Miriam, Beatrice, and a friend were all in the garden before 2 p.m.
But at around 2, my sister and Miss Ilmater both went missing.
I can't believe we trusted her to take care of our sister.
Amen. Hush now, Miriam. If the Empress of Discord took control of her, there was hardly anything the Soulmater could do to stop.
Yeah, there was hardly anything she could have done to stop it.
Mm-hmm.
Hardly anything.
Mm-hmm.
Making toast.
No way to prevent this as a nation where this commonly happens.
All I can think of is just like, Mr. Popo, I need to get that to my friend Stat. Making toast.
Buttering toast!
Okay. I really do hope she's okay. She's been missing since the massacre.
You mentioned that you all went to search for her. Did you see anything?
No, we were originally planning to search the cathedral grounds. But when we arrived at the nave, we found Aster trapped in a force cage.
Did any of you lose track of each other during that time?
No, we stayed together for the entire time. But we did consider splitting up to cover more ground.
Kingsguard found us and asked us to stay where we were.
Right, I suppose that makes sense. Did you see Eris at all when this happened?
No, we never saw her.
She went missing at the same time that Beatrice did. That's really suspicious.
You don't think...
It's definitely possible that she was involved in this somehow. Not to mention the Eye Taker is one of our suspects, and she's his daughter.
Oh,
I'm doing a funny. Okay. She is his what?
You didn't know? I'd have thought that Beatrice would have told you.
No, she didn't mention that at all.
Looks like Eris has a lot to answer for. If you can ever find her, that is. Don't worry, I'm sure she's shadowing you very closely. I suppose I'll stop beating around the bush. Have any of you made a blood contract with a demon lately?
How dare you, this arrogant little pest!
No, I understand where you're coming from. At least I want to understand, but the very idea is infuriating. Of everyone present, our sister was the only one with known ties to a demon. If she were to share that secret with anyone, it would have been us.
You didn't catch any incriminating thoughts from them through the eye? You've been misled before. Nevertheless, we still have no idea who the patron is.
I was actually meaning to ask you during the trial. Can't you just use this divine edict of yours to figure out who the patron is?
No, to manifest a blood contract, I need the title of the demon and the name of the human they made a contract with.
I understand that, but why not just apply brute force?
What?
Due to the king's funeral, the King's Guard has a detailed list of everyone who was present during the massacre. Whoever this patron is, they were working together with the Empress of Discord. That must mean they made a blood contract with her, yes?
That's right. I could just keep issuing divine edicts until a blood contract appears.
Wait, is that safe?
There's only one way to find out. Take out your notes and begin looking at your list of suspects. You might be at this for a while, so you may as well go in order. You clear your throat in preparation. Empress of Discord, wherever you may hide, release thy guards and manifest your blood contract with Aster de Wyverngard.
Tyrion, what's wrong?
You collapse to the ground as you suddenly find yourself overcome with immense pain.
What? What's happening to him?
Zurich, use your magic to heal him.
Right. I don't think we can brute force it, guys.
Oh, you silly, silly boy. You may be half human, but you can't just go around declaring lies like that.
What?
And I was really looking forward to bringing you to the end of this. I haven't even started to have my fun yet.
Who are you?
Actually, I suppose that contract is still in effect. I guess my hands are tied. I'll save you just this one. Wait, that was her. That was the wrong one.
Well,
Tyrion! Please wake up!
Ugh, Celeste!
You're okay.
You most certainly don't feel okay. You can feel every part of your body aching. It's painful for you to even sit up like this.
Are you okay, friend?
Yeah. What happened?
You died.
What?
I've never brought anyone back from something like that. That was my strongest spell too. You have no idea how lucky you are. If I wasn't here, who knows what might have happened.
I don't understand. The last thing I remember was issuing my divine edict. Wait.
was that the cause?
But I've done it before without any problems. I just used it this morning. The patron does not have a blood contract with... What?
No, Aster does
Well,
not have
Aster
a
doesn't have a
contract with the Empress.
It might be because Aster doesn't have a blood contract with the Empress. If demons are unable to lie, the same might hold true for angels as well. The divine edict is clearly some sort of divine magic, so asking for a blood contract that doesn't exist might be considered a lie.
Really, the divine edict is considered divine magic?
No.
What's next, Tyrion? Are you going to tell me that the floor is made of floor?
No, it's obviously made of ceiling.
Wild. Sorry, it It's my fault for suggesting it.
No, I was being reckless.
Please be more careful. I don't think my heart can take this.
Well, at least we know Aster wasn't behind this.
He was the most obvious one.
Either way, you should still make a note of this. Aster de Wyverngard has no blood contract with the Empress of Discord. Obviously! Ugh, anyways, it's clear that I can't issue the Divine Edicts without thinking. I'll just have to wait until I'm certain of the patron's identity.
Just please be careful.
Anyways, it looks like you found everything you can here. You arrive back at the Grand Cathedral of the Scaled Lord. Hopefully Aster and Lucio are back by now.
Do you want me to take
Mr.
Lucio
Cuthbert.
back for this scene?
Yes, please.
Getcha.
Oh, Mr. Cuthbert.
As you enter, you're approached by Aster, Ulrich, and Lucio.
How was your investigation? Oh, okay. You look quite pale.
Yeah, there was a bit of an accident earlier. Don't worry, I died. I got better. You're a little too embarrassed to admit
Sadly,
you
I
almost
died.
ended up dying. What
But
do you
I
mean
lived.
almost?
Well, try to exude more caution next time. It'd be dishonorable if you didn't fall by my hand.
What I need to ask, what is the deal with so many characters having a scar over one eye and then an eye patch over the other?
That's a good point. He does have his eye patch over the eye that isn't scarred. That is kind of funny, yeah. Why is everything you say so aggressive? Anyways, you finally have your next suspect here. But judging from the evidence you gathered, it's very unlikely that Aster is the patron. You do wonder if he saw something, though.
I think I'm gonna have to hop off for a bit, guys.
Okay.
Later.
Why are you looking at me like that, Cuthbert?
Oh, sorry. After he attacked you in Frega Manor, you've always been a little wary of him. If it weren't for Celeste reflexes, he might have very well killed you that day.
I'm not going to attack you again.
I hope you can understand my uneasiness. You did almost kill me the first time we met. What?
That's not. It's because you're a Heavensborn.
What? Why does me being a Heavensborn have to do with this?
It's difficult to explain to someone like you. But warriors such as I must hone and develop our senses to survive in battle. Eventually, we develop the ability to sense hidden enemies and anticipate danger. I've heard that such senses are heightened when in the presence of extraplanar entities. Until I met you and Beatrice Freya's familiar, I thought those stories were complete nonsense.
Me and Marnath.
As a Heavensborn, your blood is said to originate from the heavens. I wouldn't go so far as to say that I believe in the existence of other planes. But I admit that I still feel a certain aura from you that doesn't feel quite human.
So that's why you attacked me. It was exuding. I was exuding a threatening aura?
It was actually the opposite. Your aura was too calming and benign. I thought it must be some kind of trick or illusion.
I see. That's quite an astounding ability. Oh,
What about you, McCoy?
What?
Did you not sense a similar aura when you first met him?
is that true?
Well. Wow, there's a really fancy carriage outside. I wonder who it belongs to. Oh, there's someone inside the inn too. Is that guy visiting my dad? Oh wow, you're kind of cute.
Oh, Celeste, you've had hots for him this whole time.
Kind of similar.
Literally this entire fucking time. Oh my god, it's so good. For some reason, you feel a little embarrassed. Master, I'm sure you know why I'm here. It's because I'm one of your suspects, isn't it?
Your Majesty, you are the reigning king of Wyvern. I expect you to conduct yourself with more dignity.
Of course. My apologies, Lord Steelwind. Anyway, your questioning you is honestly a formality at this point. Really? A lot of evidence works in your favor. Doesn't have a blood contract with the Empress, after all. Well, I appreciate your vote of confidence, nonetheless. Lucio, you made a headway in... Have you made a headway in figuring out who set that trap for Aster?
No, I haven't.
Makes me uneasy to think... Makes me uneasy that you let someone get that close to my father's body.
Yes, I can't begin to apologize for my men's incompetence. If they were more vigilant, perhaps we could have avoided this whole tragedy entirely.
So your men were guarding the late king's coffin.
Yes, there wasn't a single moment when his body was left unguarded.
We found traces of illusion magic at the location of the force cage. Although we're still not sure about who could have set that trap. There are also members of the King's Guard that can cast both Force Cage and Glyph of Contingency. And many of them fell comatose during the massacre, so we don't know if one of them betrayed us.
You think my men are that weak, Your Majesty?
I think anyone can be made weak when put through enough stress.
Regardless, we have no way of telling who may have been guarding the coffin when the trap was set. This means that we have no way of telling when that Glyph of Contingency was set.
I was actually meaning to ask about that. Couldn't we wait for the 48 hours to elapse? If we take note of the exact time the traces of evocation disappear, we can work backwards to discern the exact time the trap was set.
Well, normally we could.
When the spell activated, I unfortunately panicked and cast a fireball to try and destroy it. Of course, it didn't even put a dent in the force cage.
Because of that, he left traces of evocation at the exact location of the Glyph of Contingency. We can't discern which traces were left by the patron's Glyph of Contingency or His Majesty's Firebolt.
I am terribly sorry about that. Can't blame him for reacting like that, but it's going to make figuring out who did this much more difficult. I heard you two visited Arya earlier today. How is she doing? I think she's doing the best she can, all things considered.
No thanks to you.
What?
She's only in this situation because of you.
Lucio, that's not me. You're the one who's heartlessly prosecuting her.
She's far too weak for this.
If that's what you truly think of her, you're grossly misunderstanding the kind of person that she is. She defied the role you tried to force onto her, and she instead dedicated herself to fixing our broken kingdom. Ever since this all started, all you've done is insult her. But you know nothing about her, and she's far stronger than you realize. Despite her lineage, she's always carved her own path and pursued her own justice.
Her own path? She only became a prosecutor because of His Majesty.
What are you talking about? She became a prosecutor to fix our corrupt justice system from the inside.
And who do you think put those ideas into her mind? If she wanted to fix our justice system, she could have easily have done so by slowly weakening House Sybil's influence. But she knew about your strange idolization of Ruby Tamora. And she knew how closely you followed each and every one of her cases. I know why she became a prosecutor. She thought that if she became like your idol and defeated her, you might finally notice her.
You're wrong, Lucio. Arya Stillwind would never care that much about me.
Are you seriously that dense? When you were still engaged to Lady Freyga, you flaunted your relationship in front of my daughter with no regard for her feelings. I remember each and every time I heard her silently crying in her quarters because of how oblivious you are. She's changed every part of herself in order to please you.
Is he getting angry on her behalf? I had no idea.
My daughter is far stronger than any of us. But she's weak when it comes to you.
Lucio, there's no point in fighting amongst ourselves. Please stay focused on the investigation. Seems like he cares for Arya a lot more than you realized. And the eye shows his feelings are genuine. Then why is he doing everything he can to convict her? The mood is a little tense.
I must ask you, Cuthbert, why are you going to such lengths for my daughter?
What do you mean?
Surely you understand the gravity of the situation. By taking part in this trial, you risk drawing the ire of both the nobility and whoever this Empress of Discord is. What are you planning?
Lucio, I'm not planning anything. Please, do you honestly expect me... Oh, I'm sorry.
I will slap you with this axe.
I think that's called chopping people.
Not if you do it with the flat of the blade. Please, do you honestly expect me to believe that you're doing this out of the goodness of your heart?
Well...
Oh, Scaled Lord, you actually are doing it for that reason. Is that what all Heavensborn are like?
I don't like thinking about it that way. I just can't stand by while I see injustice taking place. Even if you're standing in my way, I'll do whatever it takes to save Arya.
I wouldn't throw around such promises so loosely.
I'm not. I will save her, Lucio. Anyways, it appears that you still have no idea who set the trap for Aster. Judging from the spell compendiums you have, neither Arya nor Beatrice could have set that trap. But the patron could also be a mage. That means they could have set the trap too. Either way, it looks like you won't be getting any new information here. You highly doubt the person who orchestrated this is any of the people you've met thus far. There's one last person you need to talk to. You make your way back to the alleyway that Timora brought you to a month ago. It would be too conspicuous to bring the Kingsguard with you, so they've hidden themselves in a building nearby. They gave Celeste an enchanted runestone to hold and channel her magic into. If she ever stops focusing her magic into it, the Kingsguard will be notified, and they'll storm the building.
Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do this. The Eye-Taker's your prime suspect. Everyone else has an alibi and lacks motive. Not to mention, Eris was with Beatrice when she went missing. You don't want to suspect her, but her father is a criminal. And she still hasn't turned up since the massacre. Alright, on 3. 1,
2.
3! What?
There's no one here.
Damn it! Of course he's not here. You betrayed him and you knew where his hideout was. You take a close look at the desk he was sitting at during your previous visit. There's a thick layer of dust on it. Doesn't look like anyone's been here for a while. He must have moved his operation elsewhere the day you convicted Beatrice.
I guess there's no point in staying hidden anymore.
You see Celeste toss the Kingsguard runestone to the ground. A few seconds later, you hear the footfalls of soldiers rushing towards your location.
Free! In the name of Wyvern-Guard!
You see him freeze as he scans the room and sees no one else there.
Careful, Seer. They appear to have turned themselves invisible.
They're not here, you idiot!
Oh,
You let out a frustrated sigh as you take a seat in the chair nearby. A cloud of dust is launched into the air as you do so. We had the last piece we needed. None of the other suspects had the means nor the motive to do this. He's probably long gone by now. It's over.
I'm sorry. But you did everything you could, didn't you?
But it wasn't good enough. Part of you knew that it was a long shot. If he was involved in this, he'd definitely keep his head down. What do we do now? There has to be someone who knows where he is. Wait a minute. Actually, there is one person who might know where he is.
What do you... Wait, you don't mean...
boy.
At this point, it's the only option we have.
Are you sure? You two aren't exactly...
I know, but I can't let my personal feelings get in the way of saving Arya. You're not looking forward to seeing her again. At least that's what you keep telling yourself. I'll have to process these feelings later. You have a job to do.
Yep. Oh boy.
You arrive at the office of Tamora's law firm. According to Arya, Tamora is still practicing. So it looks like she hasn't gone into hiding like the Eye Taker apparently did. And if anyone knows where he currently is, she will. You bring your hand up to knock at the door, but you stop for a moment.
Sir?
After everything that's happened, you still don't feel ready to face her. For the past month, all these things you've said to keep her... all those things you said to her keep replaying in your mind. You feel the familiar warmth of Celeste's hand again. You take a deep breath and steel your resolve. You knock on the door. Every moment of silence thereafter fills you with anxiety and dread.
I'm sorry for the inconvenience, but I'm not currently accepting clients at... Cuthbert?
Aww. She looks completely frozen for a while, but her gaze narrows as she notices the Legion of Knights escorting you.
Are you here to arrest me?
No! Of course not. Let me come in.
Yes, of course.
You take a seat inside the office, but you can't really think of anything to say. And the Knights aren't really helping to alleviate the tension. Hey, Celeste, could you take the Knights outside to do a perimeter of the building?
What? But... Are you sure?
I am.
What?
Celeste, we're in a
Blah.
populated building with in the capital city of Wyverngard. I think I'll be fine.
No, but... Sorry. You're right. I'll just...
With the motion of her hand, the Knights follow her outside of the office. Right before she leaves, she waits at the door and looks at you for a while. But after a while, she realizes how long she's been staring and quickly closes the door. Now then, let's get this over with. Small talk.
Is Celeste okay? She seems a bit on edge right now.
Yeah, I think she's just been overprotective lately. I don't really blame her. I did almost die a few times in the last few days.
What?
It's a long story. I don't think I'm even allowed to talk about it. Especially not with you. The last part came with a little more disdain than you intended. You take a deep breath. I received your letters.
Oh, did you?
I haven't gotten the chance to read them yet.
Of course. Whenever you're not busy.
This is really awkward. But you're gonna have to have this conversation with her sooner or later. Perhaps it would be best to just be direct. Miss Tamora, I trusted you.
I know.
I trusted you. I told you everything about myself. I put all of my hopes into you. And you lied to me. You told a criminal about the Eye of Horus. It took me years before I was comfortable enough to tell you about it, and you knew that.
I...
Why did you even adopt me? You could have just left me at Arnax and moved on with your life. Why would you pull me into this? Sounds like she's trying to look for an answer, but nothing comes to her. I started thinking about what my life would have been like. Could have done so many things. I've even been able to move on from losing my mother. But you adopted me. You made my entire life focused around that one moment.
I had a son once. Before you, I mean.
What?
I wasn't always a city person. I used to live in an old farm town, just like McCoy's. My son and I used to run an old tea shop, just the two of us.
Wait, you ran a tea shop?
I know. It's ridiculous now that I think about it. But I was really happy back then.
What happened?
One night a local nobleman had too much to drink at the local tavern. He barged into our shop and started destroying it with his magic. My son tried to stop him, but the Inquisition swept that entire case under the rug, obviously. They said that the nobleman felt threatened and acted in self-defense.
She never told you about this before. What was his name?
It was Ryan.
Oh. What did you do after Ryan died?
I thought long and hard about what I wanted to do. I was hurt and blinded by rage. So I decided I would take justice into my own hands.
Wait, you didn't...
No, at the time I thought that killing him would be too easy. Oh. Stream, please.
Oh, yeah, my internet
There we go.
My internet is having a hiccup at the moment.
Yep, okay. Finally updated. I broke into his manor and found every incriminating document I could find. I found everything from records with legitimate children to plots he was making in southern noble houses. I released everything to the public. It absolutely ruined him. That's when I realized there was a way to make them pay. You didn't have to harm or kill anyone. You could just beat them at their own game. You could use the rules and laws they made against them.
Just like an attorney.
Yeah, just like an attorney. When I realized that, I moved to the city and started studying law. I read every book there was to read about Wyvengard's laws, and I learned how to work the system. I started representing clients who were clearly being framed by the nobility. But I really didn't care about saving them. I just wanted to see the look on each noble's face when I implicated them with irrefutable evidence. But it got more difficult. As I started punching higher, the nobles got smarter and more influential. I continued to acquit my clients, but the trials got closer and closer each time. But I was arrogant, and I felt invincible. I thought that no matter what happened, justice would prevail. And then your mother's case happened. I've never met someone that remarkable before. She had this way of making you feel happy, no matter what kind of mood you were in.
Yeah, I remember.
But I failed her, and I failed you.
Miss Tamara, I never once blamed you for what happened.
I know, That doesn't change the fact that I couldn't acquit her. She was executed because I didn't do enough.
So it sounds like his mother was also Heavensborn. So that got passed down.
When you asked me to train you to be an attorney, I was blinded by my desperation. I felt so alone and helpless. I wanted someone, anyone, to carry this burden with me. So how pathetic must I have been that I'd look for that in a grieving 10-year-old child?
I
When I looked at you, all I wanted to see was myself. I saw a hurt and broken person who wanted revenge on the nobility. But I was too self-centered to realize that you were nothing like me. You care about people, and you cared more about saving your clients than harming the nobility. I think I knew all along. I just refused to see it. Maybe you were right about me.
what?
Maybe I was just using you to make myself feel better. I took you from your home and forced you to dedicate your life to my dream. Maybe I never really cared. If I did care about you, I would have never pulled you into a life like this. I'm sorry. I can't begin to apologize for doing that to you.
The Eye of Horus shows that her feelings are genuine. But does that even matter at this point? I've been thinking long and hard about this. I want to forgive you, Miss Tamora. I don't know if I can,
I don't blame you.
but I want to try. She looks away from you for a moment as she wipes a single tear. Miss Tamora...
No, don't call me that.
What?
If you can truly find it in your heart to forgive me, I want things to be different this time. I'm not your superior nor your mentor anymore. We're equals now. So call me by my first name.
Oh, okay. Ruby. Saying it feels really strange after all these years. But you hope you can get used to it.
Time to sour the mood.
Right. I almost forgot the whole reason I came here.
What is it?
I didn't just come here to reconcile. I actually need your help with something.
Okay.
I need you to help me speak to the Eye Taker.
Tyrion.
I know, considering the circumstances, it would probably strain your partnership with him even more.
Tyrion.
But if you just tell me where he is, I'll do my best to make sure it doesn't get traced back to you.
Tyrion. The Eye Taker is dead.
What?
Died right after you convicted Beatrice. He was lynched by a mob of civilians.
What?
Everyone's saying that it was some sort of retaliation from House Frega. Didn't you notice that he didn't send anyone after you?
But Eris said... Wait a minute. By the way, is your father still... Sai, do you still want her? Are you still here?
Yeah, I do. Sorry, I didn't know she was on screen.
She just
Oh. If you're worried about him, we've already had a conversation about you. I don't think he'll be accosting you anytime soon.
Oh, thank you.
I just want to point out that she technically didn't lie in that.
That's true. She sure didn't. Then why would Eris say that?
Eris? Who's Eris?
What? You must have met her before. She has long black hair and she wears a black dress. I suppose she really likes black. Well, anyways, she's the Eye Taker's daughter.
Tyrion. The Eye Taker's daughter has red hair.
What? She was there when we spoke to him during Beatrice's trial.
That's right. Oh my
What are you
gosh.
talking about? She was never at that meeting.
What? What is going on? She was clearly there. If it weren't for her intervention, the Eye Taker would have attacked at that very moment. Why are you remembering things differently? No.
Tyrion, what's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that?
Part of you really hopes you're wrong about this. That's the only explanation that you can think of, but why? Her memories seem intact, except for her memories of Eris. Since her disappearance, you've highly suspected that she was involved in this. Not only was she at the scene of every of the crime, she went missing at the same time that Beatrice did. You never thought to ask one question. Oh. A flood of memories comes back to you. Yep, every single time Celeste came up in contact with Eris. Go ahead. This is from a
Tyrion.
previous... Yeah.
I fought literal monsters and barely escaped with my life. But when I'm near Eris, none of those creatures come even close. I get this feeling. It's like I'm in front of a predator that I couldn't ever hope to beat. Every instinct I have tells me to run whenever she's close by.
I'm terribly sorry. He's not usually like this.
It's to be expected. I'm not sure why, but animals have always disliked me.
There's still very little you know about demons. So what's to say that one can't take the appearance of a human? But it's still a long shot. There is one way to find out for sure.
Tyrion, talk to me. What's wrong?
Oh boy, Ruby, I'm about to do something stupid. If I fall unconscious, I need you to call Celeste and tell her to contact Lord Asclepius or the Archduke.
What?
If you're wrong about this, there's no way either of them will get here in time. But it's already late and the trial resumes tomorrow. You can't waste any more time traveling to either of their locations. Eris Ilmater, wherever and whatever you are, by the Eye of Horus, I issue upon you a divine edict. Release thy guards and manifest your blood contract with Ruby Tymora.
So, you finally figured it out, my dearest Tyrion.
This entire time I've been chasing you.
You have. It's been so entertaining watching you scramble around.
You've been making contracts with people across Wyverngard. You took control of Arya and Beatrice. But why? Why would you want to do any of this?
Oh, I can't possibly reveal all my secrets. This isn't the proper stage to have our final battle.
You.
But I suppose that you've come this far. So how about I give you a little gift?
Upon signing this contract, Ruby Tamora grants the Empress of Discord access to her memories. At any time, the Empress may view any and all of Timora's memories. In addition to that, the Empress may instantaneously change and alter her memories whenever she wishes.
What was that?
Ruby, Eris Ilmater is a demon. She's not just any demon, she's the Empress of Discord. And you signed a blood contract with her. That's why you can't remember anything about her.
What? Tyrion, I swear on my life that I didn't know anything about this.
I know, she probably tricked you into signing this. Just like she tricked Arya.
Arya? What does the prosecutor have to do with this?
Come on, you two. I know things are kind of tense, but there's no reason to... What are you holding?
A
Is
sweetie.
that a blood contract?
Celeste, Eris is the Empress of Discord.
What?
It was her the entire time! She tricked Arya into signing a blood contract with her. And she probably controlled her and Beatrice to orchestrate the entire massacre.
What?
Tyrion, this is crazy. I know I was scared of her that one time, But how could Eris be a demon? She looks nothing like Marina.
I know how unbelievable it is, but I used my divine edict with her name. It wouldn't have worked unless she was a demon.
Yeah, I guess I can't disagree with that.
We'll need to contact the Grand General immediately.
But if she's really a demon, is it even possible to arrest her? It's already been a day. For someone like her, that would be more than enough time to skip town. I'll need to speak with the Archduke about this. Thank you, Ruby. You've helped us more than you could ever know.
Yeah, of course.
Celeste, let's meet up with everyone. We'll need to discuss our next course of action.
Right.
You're about to leave Ruby's office when she stops you.
Tyrion, have you been using the Eye of Horus lately?
Yeah? I can't say much about what I'm doing right now, but I am in the middle of a case.
It's just that...
What's wrong?
Never mind. I don't think it's my place to say anything. I think I'm just being my usual paranoid self. I'm not the one with the ability to read minds anyways. So if you're not seeing it, it's probably nothing.
Okay.
I know you can't tell me what you're doing. And I have no idea what could possibly involve the Kingsguard, Steelwind, and the Empress of Discord. But just stay